welcome to episode 27 of Rapid Reviews Radio. I am your co-host, Kylie Wild, and I'm joined by Pete Beckett.
Hello.
Yeah, so how are you in these strange and challenging times?
These strange and challenging times are strange and challenging, but fantasy has definitely been something worth distracting myself over.
Yes, absolutely.
So I can't stop playing it.
Yeah, I
Like my
get
whole
that.
I mean, I've been working throughout the week, and
Well, of course.
literally every moment that I've got over the weekend, I've basically been playing Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
I'm close to finishing it, I think.
Yeah, I do look forward to your and Mike Tootie's joint review. Am I?
Yes, but there's also a third person in there as
So
well.
okay, I felt like I was leaving someone out. But...
So a guy who's done some writing for Rapid Reviews called McConville
Mm.
has also written a review up, and we're going to take sections of that and put it and loop it all in together. So maybe we haven't spoken about the logistical side of things in that respect, like who's covering gameplay, graphics, whatever. I think we're all just going to write our own reviews and then sort of splice them together.
That works. I can't wait because I'm pretty sure we've talked about it, but Final Fantasy VII has been both of our,
Loves.
Yeah, couldn't think of a word. And then
Yeah,
I've been dying to play the remake. You got the remake, and
yep.
Sometimes you'll send me screenshots and stuff, and I'm just like, it's the coolest game ever.
Okay, fine. I'll make a promise here. Once I've finished it, I'll get your address and I will send it to you.
No, I don't want you to do that. But...
No, I am going to do that.
I can't.
But you need to play it. You need to experience.
Yeah, I can't wait to play it. I can hear the music. Well, I mean, obviously, I've listened to the music, and it's just, I can't wait.
Yeah, because I keep sending you for revisions of the music for the review that I've been working on for weeks.
Yeah,
so
I'm here to tell you, listeners, it's good. It's good. I cannot wait. I can't wait.
Yeah.
For the review, and I can't wait to play it. And it's just.
I can't wait for it all. I've done the game playing side of things. Now it's just the actual writing, editing, all that sort of thing that's still got to be done. But if I'm honest, I'm really looking forward to actually doing the VO work for it.
Yeah.
So to anyone who doesn't understand it, voiceover.
Right.
I spoke an accent in there and realized that maybe I should actually say what it's supposed to mean.
I'm so used to like seeing it and hearing it that it didn't even register. Like, yes, we should probably explain what that means.
Yeah, I just had that moment in my head where I was like, oh yeah, I should explain that. Oh yeah, yep, voiceover. Yep, that's fine. But yeah, I'm looking forward to actually narrating the review itself and putting it up onto YouTube, because it's not something I've done, and you did that obviously with the Doom review because it's your review.
Yeah, but you helped, and it's funny because you find out that voiceover is a lot more work than you thought, because
I bet it is.
What goes for it's a 2-minute intro spiel whatever, and it takes you 3 hours to record 2 lines. Like,
But is that mainly because you get all confused and fluffy lines and all that sort of thing, that you just perfect take?
Partly that, partly sometimes I'll because I like to memorize what I say, but also have it in front of me, so I can like look down at it just in case. And then sometimes I'll get flustered because I realized I've said a line that was supposed to come later, but I said it first, and then I looked down and see it, and I was like, no.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I have always been terrible with learning lines, which is why I never became an actor. So I think I'm just going to have the script up in front of me and just read it. And just try and do the best take possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because, how many times have I flubbed this intro? when we're recording, I'm just like, bleh, bleh, bleh.
Yeah, I mean, I can count on numerous hands like how many juice us. The only thing that you haven't actually done is you've forgotten to say the episode number or the name of the podcast.
Right, that's the only. Oh my gosh! But which we've both kind of stated we like the organic feel of the podcast, and so we kind of leave the little blips in and stuff that, you know, most of them we do take out some, but when it comes to doing voiceover work, you can't leave the blips in at all, and it's just
no, you can't. It's got to be perfect.
Yeah, and it's just like, I've been recording for so long. In fact, I had to do the Doom voiceover. I had to do in 2 parts because I couldn't do it as one whole. I could not get through the whole speech. Yeah.
I know, I remember that one because you sent me part 1 of it, and I'm like sitting there, I was like, there's no edits to be done to this, but I have to leave it open just because I need to paste part 2 in there so that it actually sounds cohesive rather than sounding like you've got like a gap in the middle. It's like, what? I think you were a bit astonished to hear the other day when I spoke to you that how long it takes me to edit this podcast.
Oh yeah, I was actually quite shocked because you've got it streamlined to yeah.
Well, the thing was when we were doing the original pitch for this, or when we originally spoke about this to then go back to Overlord Mike,
right?
I always said that I wanted this to be a natural, organic conversation with hardly any edits in it, because the previous podcast I'd worked on was hyper edited, and I didn't want to have to go through 24 hours worth of editing work again.
Right.
For that, just for the sake of taking a few things out that don't necessarily like matter that much.
Yeah, nobody's gonna notice anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, that's a clear one that you can hear every. It's just I don't understand it. I mean, the whole point of it is podcasting is supposed to be like old radio for me.
Yes, exactly. Me too. Yes.
Yeah, so I'd much rather have it as a natural conversation where people are just, you're either agreeing, disagreeing, you can have a debate about it, and who cares? Because people say and and likes and all that all the time, and it's just a framing device for people who are trying to get their points out, and that's all it is. So why should I spend time trying to make things sound natural when it's going to cause an unnatural editing cut just to take those out? And that's what I didn't particularly want to get on board with.
Yep. And then I'm just a huge believer in authenticity, which I have never hidden. I'm so big on that. So I knew that when we, did the approached the podcast, I'm like, it's got to be real. It's got to be 2 people sitting around talking about their passion for games, and it lined up perfectly. Agreed. Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, I think the fact that we were on board with it straight up, like together, without ever discussing it like privately beforehand, was like, yeah, we know exactly what sort of goals we're going for here. That makes things so much easier.
That's so funny. It lined up perfectly. Ugh.
It did, and that was good.
Yeah. But we should get into the news, which has been light this week with good reason.
There's been a lot, surprisingly, but we've had to obviously limit certain ones that we're going to talk about. I will briefly mention this as an update from last week. Jason Schreier has now left Kotaku. Woohoo! And that's all we need to say about it.
Yeah. Although I really want to say that you had an influence on that. You didn't, but it would be funny if you did.
It would be hilarious, but clearly I'm not the only one who...
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to hear some absolute massive criticism of it, just go and listen to the Caffeinated Bantercast, where they pretty much rip him to shreds every week.
Yep.
Specifically the one where I was on the first time around, and we were doing the whole press X to Jason thing constantly, and it was just hilarious.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah.
Anyway, please go and check out Caffeinated Banter. Good podcast.
It is.
But we'll move on to because that wasn't sad news, that was good news. But we'll move on to some sad news, unfortunately.
Yes.
So we've had 2 notable voice actors pass away in the past week, which has been tough, obviously, for people who are big fans of these people. So Paul Haddad, who voiced Leon Kennedy in Resident Evil 2, the original, has passed away, as well as the Japanese voice voice actor for Reno and Axel in Kingdom Hearts. Keiji Fujihara has also passed away. So that's apparently he passed away a couple of days after Remake went gold.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Which is quite horrible news.
Yeah, I mean it is.
So
it's
it's a shame, really, because I can't. You know, they could have had something in the game, maybe even patched in that had an in memoriam to KG.
That's very true. Maybe they'll patch it in.
Possible.
Yeah.
But they will forever be immortalized with their voice acting prowess as well in these games that we can go back and.
Absolutely.
To be honest, so there's no need to be upset about it. It is obviously quite sad news, and especially sad news for the families. And thoughts and prayers go out to them.
Yeah.
But we can go back and always go and enjoy these performances whenever we like, especially all the Kingdom Hearts fans who love Axel and can go back and listen to the Japanese voice of that anytime they want, and anyone can go back and play Resident Evil 2 at any Paul voicing Leon. So anyway, so yeah, it's kind of a bum way to start the news out, I'm afraid, but yeah, these things happen, I'm afraid.
Life's full of ups and downs, so sometimes there's a down, but we can follow it up with some up.
Yeah, we'll follow it up some news that brings you on.
Yes.
And strange news this week on this one. Very strange news that this was leaked for a while and then got officially confirmed. The game known as Crysis, the graphics card melter of 2007 or 2009. I can't remember when the original Crysis did come out. I think it was 2007.
I think it was 2007 because I'm trying to remember. Does it run Crysis? Was like everybody asked each other about their PC builds.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I want to say that's 2007.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure I read in the article that it was 2007.
Yeah, that's when I first started building PCs. So.
Yep. Well, the game that originally destroyed graphics cards, managed to completely ruin many people's computers, has been announced for a remaster.
Yeah, that's
due to come to PC, which that's the strangest one for me, to be honest, because I'll go over the list of consoles that it's due to come on in a minute. But why are you announcing a remaster for a PC game that clearly people have probably patched themselves through community patches? They've probably got a whole got a modded version that is pretty much the remaster anyway.
Yeah.
So that was the most surprising. But it's also coming to Xbox One, PS4, and Switch.
Which is crazy to me.
Yeah, I'm not so surprised. Switch.
They are getting quite a few FPSs, I've noticed. So.
They are.
Yeah.
They're getting quite a fair few of them, but I don't know. It's just strange, really, that we're getting a caliber coming to the Switch. Which is, I mean, I'm surprised they've managed to optimize this to a point where it's not actually going to melt the back of the Switch.
Yeah. I do want to know when this is the boring nerd stuff, but when it is released, I do want to know like the back end, like how they got it ported over there.
Yeah, we need to see that. We do need to see that.
Yeah.
So, I actually just went and had a look at something quickly on this one because I know that the engine is using the Cry engine because Crytek made it, so they had to obviously call it a stupid name.
Yes.
I mean, the name of the company is stupid anyway.
Yeah.
But I have my own gripes about Crytek that I'll go over in the future. But I wanted to see whether or not the Cry engine actually was running on the Switch perfectly well, and it is apparently.
Okay.
In a game called Warface.
Right. Okay.
So I think that's one of the only games at the moment that CryEngine on Switch, and apparently it runs very, very well. So this gives me a little bit of faith in Crytek to at least get, or whoever's running the port, to actually get this pretty well done, to be honest, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to see who's doing the port.
I was gonna say, doesn't Ubisoft own the Crytek engine now? Somebody owns it.
I don't know if it is. Oh, it's being run by Saber Interactive, who also did the Switch port for The Witcher 3.
Yep, which was a very, very well done port. So
yeah. Funnily enough, as part of the news, one of the guys from Saber Interactive, I think it in the studio head, actually had an interview recently when the news came out, and stated that Crysis Remastered on the Switch is the hardest project they've worked on.
I'm not surprised at all. Yep.
But then that's going over Witcher 3, and it's all its DLC on one cartridge.
Right.
Yeah, that's why it's really confusing. It's like, you've just ported a PS4 game and all its DLC onto a 32 gigabyte cartridge, and yet this is the one that's causing you the most bother.
Oh my gosh. I'm dying now. For my nerdy self is like, I've got to know about that code. I'll have to do a deep dive
I need to see its frame rate. I need to see its resolution. I need to see everything. I can guarantee it's going to be locked 30.
Oh yeah, it would have to be.
Yeah, because the PS4 and the Xbox One can't seem to run anything above 30 at the best of times without causing significant problems to the performance.
Usually, yeah, and usually that is down to ray tracing, but the Crytek engine doesn't use ray. I'm about to get super nerdy, so we should probably.
No, you nerd out. I don't care. This is a video game podcast where if people can't listen to tech specs, then they should probably not be a gamer.
Oh my god!
I'm afraid.
I'm actually getting very excited to have a look at the behind the scenes stuff.
Okay.
Because the Crytek engine is it used to be super buggy.
Yeah.
And a lot of the original YouTube videos I used to watch were the bugs that was in Crysis.
There's so many.
There really is. And then I actually got Crysis 2 when it first came out, and I loved it. I haven't played it since then, but it was still beautiful. I don't know if it was still using the Crytek engine though.
It would be, yeah.
Yeah,
It is a proprietary engine for Crytek to use. They built it and used it, and they even used it on Haze.
Oh gosh, Haze. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just?
That's when Free Radical. Go on.
A small rant about Haze. Haze, if you don't know, is it's an older game. What do we think? 20.
Terrible game. Sorry.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what is just insane to me. This is the only time I've ever come across this in my own life. The storyline and the background of Haze, which was a sci-fi game. I want to say it came out in 2010, but it could have been earlier.
It was a PS3 game, so I believe it was somewhere in the region of 2007 to 2008, I believe. Okay. But I'm going to double check that quickly. So you carry on.
Because I'm very terrible with dates and times. But the story behind Haze is fascinating. I absolutely love the story.
Okay.
The game is terrible and awful and plays like a clunky piece of crap, and the graphics aren't that great. The voice acting is really bad. It's not bad enough to be cheesy, but it
is kind of cheesy.
It is the writing, the dialogue is some of the cheesiest dialogue I've ever heard in a game. Yeah. But the premise, I love the premise.
Me too. I'm quite the premise of it was quite interesting. About basically roided out soldiers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because if I remember correctly, they take a kind of stimulant called haze.
Yeah, if I was it called haze or was it called amber or nectar or
Oh,
something like
nectar. It
that?
was called nectar. That's right.
Yeah.
It's nectar, and or ambrosia, but I think it's nectar. No, it's nectar.
Okay.
Yeah, they take nectar, and it allows them, as far as you as the game player understand it, it allows you to have enhanced abilities.
Yeah.
Without giving away too many spoilers, which I know sounds weird, but I don't want to risk spoilers. Come to
Look, the
find
game
out. Mm-hmm.
game's 12 years old. It
I
came out in
know.
2008. It doesn't matter.
It's such a good story.
Okay.
About halfway through the game, you come to find out that Nectar is not giving you enhanced abilities. It's actually making you see normal, quote unquote, normal people as big, bad, scary aliens.
Yeah.
And you've been done is you've been hired by the government to knock out the rebels, but you've been told that the rebels are like big,
An
scary
invading
alien.
force.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just, I just love the whole layers of the premise.
I mean, the premise is cool. I'm not going to
is.
deny it, but it was just so woefully handled.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, this is where my rant starts, because the company that made it, Free Radical Design, are one of my favorite developers, like back in that day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they made some absolutely classic games. You know,
Right.
the fact that, you know, the developers, like I said a couple of weeks ago when we had James on, most of the developers that worked on GoldenEye for N64 split off and made Free Radical Design, who then went on to make Time Splitters. And Time Splitters is one of my favorite FPSs of all time.
Yeah. Yeah.
The first one is average, but the second one is the absolute pinnacle of genius. I mean, they also made Second Sight as well, and Second Sight's a weird game, but I really liked it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I definitely like it. But it is weird.
Yeah. But the thing was, is that there was like, they came into the PS3 generation with this title, and it was like, okay, the premise is cool as hell, but the game is so badly done. For a company that works on first-person shooters first and foremost.
Yes.
They should have got that nailed down,
yeah.
And they didn't. It was appalling.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%.
You know, I bought the game out of loyalty to Free Radical Design and wish I hadn't. Because look what's happened to Free Radical Design now. They're now Crytek UK.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn you, Crytek! Just do it. Just release Free Radical Design, let them do their own thing, and then Time Splitters 4 can happen.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's
God.
Like Microsoft buying up God, what are they called now? It used to be Black Isle, which is, you know, the Fallout New Vegas.
Black Isle Entertainment.
Yeah.
Oh,
Obsidian. Yeah. Now Microsoft owns Obsidian. And it's just like, they should just let them do their thing. Just throw money at them, but leave them alone and let them develop.
I think they have actually. I think Microsoft are pretty much letting them do their own thing. Because you see that game that they announced a while ago. I can't remember what it was called, to be honest. But that game that's going on to early access in July.
Yes.
That looks really interesting. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids in a back garden.
It is. It's very cartoony. I've got the name of it as well.
Grounded or something?
Something. I think that. Yeah. I'm more hesitant about it only because I just love Obsidian's RPGs so much.
Yeah.
This one is a platformer, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure it'll be fine, but
I think it's probably going to have something interesting where it's just it'll be like a free roaming sort of, you know, open world exploration game for them. Yeah. And I think that's something they generally tend to do quite well anyway.
They absolutely do.
So,
I think so anyway.
Oh yeah, it is called Grounded.
Very good. Good pull.
Pulled that out of nowhere.
Yeah, because I did not remember that.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised I did as well. So yeah, it says Grounded described as a survival adventure where you're the size of an ant.
That's it. The survival aspect I didn't like. Yeah. But I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see. They've got plenty of time to work on it. It may come out and be wonderful.
And bearing in mind that the Outer Worlds kind of and Fallout games are subsequently survival games, technically. By mere technicality, yes.
They do. I will say this. You actually bring up a good point. They do have survival mode, which then does absolutely turn it into a survival game. So they do have experience in survival games. That is true.
I think that's the thing, is that, you know, most games now are not just, same with movies as well. They're not just one genre. There's a lot of skewing of the genres, not like it used to be back in the day where everything was just, all right, this is a fighting game. This is a platformer. This is a racing game. No, most racing games now have RPG elements in them, and most survival games have RPG elements in them, and most RPG games have RPG elements in them. Of course, I know I did that one as a joke. Sorry,
but FPS, you know, RPG and FPS are blended together. So
of course they are. You know,
just fine for me.
I've got no problem with it, to be honest. You know, it's kind of like the same thing with music where, you know, not everything is pop music. It could be like trance, you know, dance and pop or whatever, you know. You know, I kind of look at bands like Liquid Tension Experiment, who nobody has ever heard of before, but I'm going to mention them. But they're basically like progressive rock, metal, I'm trying to think, like psychedelia and jazz fusion.
Right. Oh wow. Yeah.
So yeah, you see what I mean.
Yeah.
But they're crazy. They're very weird. But I'd highly recommend anyone to go and listen to them because they're very strange and very cool.
Yeah, I definitely am. My interest is piqued, shall we say?
Okay, I'll send you their 2 albums because they're quite old now. They're 97 and 99, but they are.
Wow. Okay.
I kid you not. I've listened to them every week without fail for the last 10 years.
That's wild. That's crazy.
I'll tell you the reason why, but after the recording. But I'm sure you could probably work it out.
Yeah, I can.
No, I'm going to say it now. They've got 3 of the 4 members of Dream Theater.
Yeah.
Come at me. I don't care.
I knew there was a connection there.
Yeah, I'm a bit of an obsessive when it comes to Dream Theater and their side projects, if I'm honest.
Yeah. But
even ex-keyboardists who do side projects, I'll listen to every one of their albums too.
That is too funny.
Yeah, I try.
Yes.
So, Crysis.
Yeah. Wow, that was the longest bunny trail ever. But
I know, that was just weird.
Yeah. I will.
But yeah,
I'll be glad to see it come out. I do want to know the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
I do as well, and I just had to sort of have a minor rant on Crytek because Crytek annoy the heck out of me because I'm pretty radical and.
I know. And then we're all back on haze again, and then gosh.
I know, and that's the thing as well. That's what about it. Free Radical, excellent UK developer, that's now been gobbled up by a multi-million-dollar corporation.
Yeah, that's
wonderful stuff.
That's what's happening more and more. But we'll talk about that actually probably in the topic that actually.
Tell you what, that's a great idea. Note that down somewhere, and we'll touch on that as a topic because that's happened a lot over the.
It's getting quite a bit more prevalent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
so we'll move on to some more release stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my most anticipated game of the not FF7 Remake. Although I loved it, you know, I was still loving it.
Yeah.
This particular game has a very special place in my heart.
Yes.
Oh boy. Streets of Rage 4 given release date of April 30th.
Wow. Which is right around the corner.
Oh boy. Oh. This is coming out during lockdown. This is oh my god, this is so awesome. So I'm gonna nerd out.
That's quite alright. Yeah.
Do you want to go over this? Because I don't know if I can.
Okay. Well, the date's been given as April 30th. And they showed a bunch of trailers, which I'm going to ask, have you seen them?
Moving on. I don't need to dignify that with an answer.
So multiplayer battle arena, which I think that you are going to absolutely love.
I'm gonna love that. I do hope it has an online netcode to it, but if it doesn't, I'm not gonna be too disappointed.
Well, I assume that it does, but you're right. Either way, it's gonna be good. And then probably the biggest part of it is that all the legacy characters are being added. Which,
boy! Oh boy!
Yeah,
I bet that is literally every playable character that's ever been in history of Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
Available apparently from the start.
Oh, it is from the start. Okay.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I have heard that they are unlocked from the beginning because holy hell, I am extra hard mode with Skate.
So you will have to stream that. Absolutely.
I was I'm getting this on Switch. I don't know if I'll be able to.
Right.
Well, I want to get this on Switch. I don't know if I will because I might have to get it on PS4.
Yeah. I was.
No! I've got the greatest idea of.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to buy this on PS4.
So
that I can have the digital copy.
Yeah.
But I'm going to buy the limited run Switch version and have it physical.
Right. Yes, that's an idea. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I probably will be streaming this not this Friday, but next Friday on the it comes out on the 30th, so that'll be the 1st of or it might even be on the 30th. I might just do it then.
Wow, it's coming out. Wow, games
on a Thursday.
They come out Tuesday or sometimes Friday. That is weird.
Because the American audiences usually choose Friday, and there has been a bit of a bleeding of the releases over the years because Halo came out on a Tuesday here, which is very, very strange. But I guess they want worldwide releases, so not to get spoilers and all that sort of thing. That's fair enough.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it probably won't be on the Thursday. 1st of May, I'm definitely going to be well up for streaming this game.
That would be very cool. Which actually kind of brings me to an idea that Pete and I have discussed off air, which kind of ties into this in a way. We're thinking of starting up a series called Teach Me How to Play. And
working title.
Working title, yes. No, definitely not an official title yet. But I think it's funny because it makes me think of Teach Me How to Dougie. So I'm just like, Teach Me How to Play. And so like my thing is FPS, so I'll be teaching how to play FPS. Pete's thing obviously is fighting games, and I don't know anything about fighting games except for Mortal Kombat and button pressing. That's it. And my favorite part of Street Fighter is beating up the car, so that should tell you where I'm at.
But is that because of personal experience?
There is something very satisfying about it, yes.
I'm not going to lie, punching a bonnet is actually kind of fun.
I will say this.
It hurts like hell.
I was going to say, it definitely hurts, and if you use things like bats or whatever to actually, do actual legal demolition, be careful, because if you use a wooden bat, it will vibrate and will hit you back in the face. And if you use a metal bat,
yeah,
the metal absorbs the vibrations, but you'll still hit yourself in the face.
Oh well, I wouldn't know about that, but I do know about the vibrations because I once owned a metal softball bat, and the amount of things that I hit that was metal, like goalposts, and it would just reverberate through the whole thing.
It will. It'll go inside your head and make your head
it was horrible.
Yeah.
gave me the old tingles in the arms as well.
Yep.
Really weird.
I have to say, there is an advantage to growing up in rural East Texas, is that you get to break a lot of stuff.
I mean, I didn't have to grow up in rural Texas for that. My dad owned a second-hand furniture shop where a lot of the stuff
Yeah,
couldn't be resold, so I get to demolish it
exactly.
all. It was great.
Yes, exactly that. So yeah, that's almost very similar to what I got to do, which was take apart like old TVs, and I got to figure out or learn about vacuum tubes and stuff. Which is
Yep, that's how I learned about them as well.
that's probably why I love Fallout so much, really.
Oh, I guess so.
But I'll tell you, I'm gonna let you in on my little redneck history. One of my favorite things to do was to smash bottles, glass bottles. It's
Now,
very satisfying.
I bet it is, but I do have to ask, what implement of weaponry were you using to smash these bottles?
Several different things, and yes, I did shoot them off the fence, and then
Uh,
tossing them. Mm-hmm.
were they? Oh God, I'm trying to think of the right term for this. Were they vintage bottles that were a collector's item for someone by any chance?
Well, they would, if they had survived, they'd be collector's items for sure. Because they were like from the '60s and stuff.
Yeah,
I
I
try
don't know
not
what
to
that
think
was.
about it.
I'm trying to think what kind of I can't even remember where I got that rep from. I think it's The Simpsons, if I'm honest. Where they shoot a bottle, it's like, hey, you shot my bottle.
It's very weird. Oh my gosh, guys, just bear with our tangents.
Yeah,
It's the
scat brains.
isolation. It is, yeah. But one thing also is the part of Texas I grew up in had a lot of, or still has, but a lot of railroads. That's what the towns were built around. So
Yeah,
there's lots of like old railroad parts and old. They used to in the telephone poles. They used to use these weird glasses that would like project, or not project, transfer the sound to
yeah.
phones and stuff. It's very weird. And so you'd have like all these railroad like spikes and glass, weird glass bell things from like the 30s and 40s and stuff. And those would always, you could always find those. And now over here in the UK, I noticed they're highly collectible, and I think I broke and burned several things growing up that's probably worth a few $1,000s. So,
Of course.
I try not to think about it too much, but when you're in Texas and you're bored, you just do that. You just break things.
Well, you know what they say: when in Rome.
Exactly.
You know. Well, when in Texas, act like a redneck.
Yeah, shoot out old TVs and bash them with bats. It is fun as long as you're doing it in a controlled, legal environment. Oh, one of my favorite things. People find this so funny. There, you can't take the redneck out of the girl. You can take the girl out of the redneck, but you can't take the redneck out of the girl. And
Yeah, of course.
to this day, my two favorite things to watch are demolition derbies. I absolutely love watching those, and monster truck rallies. I love monster truck rallies so much.
Truckosaurus!
Exactly. I've seen the real Truckosaurus.
That is literally the first thing I thought of when you. Oh my god!
It's so much fun, and I used to watch them in the Astrodome, which no longer exists as it was.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think Minute Maid Park, which is where the Astros play now, I think is the last ones I saw. Yeah, it was Minute Maid Park, and it's so much fun because you get these big giant trucks like Gravedigger. It's my favorite, and they spin in a circle and they get mud on you, and it's just like, I'm part of this.
Wow. Okay.
I know. There's a slight little redneck part of me.
That's fine. That is fine. Everyone's allowed to have that side to them.
I could see myself being the only one sitting there drinking a glass of wine, watching a monster truck rally. So.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, if I ever went to Texas, I did say this to you off air. I would go and do some very Texan things. You know, go to barbecue, obviously.
Oh gosh, yeah.
You know, would go to a monster truck rally because that would be actually, you know, I'd have to go and marry my sister, but which is funny because I don't even have one.
Right, exactly.
No, and also that's just me taking the mick out of you as well. But
Yeah.
no, the biggest thing that I want to do is go and see the internet meme himself, Alex Jones.
Yeah, which
I'd love to get a picture with that guy and
oh my gosh.
just ask him to start shouting about gay frogs, because that would be the funniest thing. I'd love to have a personalized video of saying, like, you asking me for a video is why they turned the frogs gay.
Oh my gosh. So, if you're out there and you're looking for a couple of gaming podcasters to do a tour, we're available.
We're in. Look,
yeah, absolutely.
No, I'd gladly go on InfoWars and start doing some random stuff. I so would do that.
It would be. I'll tell you what. If we ever did get to do a tour and head down to Texas, we could do the best vlog, for lack of a better word. And post it up on YouTube. It would be hilarious. But who knows? Yeah. Maybe one day we'll get to go to Southwest. Southwest.
Well, if we decide to go there, hopefully the Atari open by then.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, wow, that is a callback to an old episode.
Yes, it is. All right. So Streets of Rage.
Yeah, so Streets of Rage 4 release date. Who's been. I'm very excited about it.
We are literally cracking up. Just
I'm gone. I'm done. I'm done. I think I've spent too long in isolation.
It really is. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So yes. So we'll look forward to you streaming Streets of Rage 4.
Yeah, and I'll put a post up for sure on the Twitter just to say May 1st, probably 7 p.m. GMT or British Standard Time or whatever you want to say about it.
British Standard Time. It's the only time.
Oh my. I'm the upper class. I have money.
You like my what is it called? Not Oxford accent. Oh, I can't remember now.
Cambridge.
Cambridge, yes, my Cambridge accent. Oh yeah.
It's not bad considering that you're an American. Yeah. Usually the American English ones are the worst.
Well, considering that my actual accent is nearly, you would not be able to understand me.
Well, I have, because I've heard you go proper redneck.
It's so funny because in the Doom video where I talk about taking down the demons with your guns, I just go full Texan. I was like,
you even just did it then?
Yes. What?
Without even noticing it, you just did. Taking down demons and. I'm sorry, but I can only picture Jones saying about demons. She's a demon. She's a demon.
I hate to say, yeah. I mean, obviously he is from Texas, so yeah.
Yeah, you get all these jokes all the time, and now the audience finally hearing them.
Oh, it's so funny. I guess when I talk about guns and stuff, it's just probably guns, beer, and barbecue. My accent just poof.
And clearly monster truck rallies.
Yes. Oh man, I love them so much.
Okay, so we'll move away from the news.
Yes.
Yeah. So, just let it be known that Streets of Rage 4 is going to be a glorious game because I've already played it.
Yeah, that's right.
I played an early build at EGX, so if you want to hear my impressions of that, go to listen to episode 2.
Yep, absolutely.
Was it really? Oh my god, was it really episode 2?
Wow. That was a big episode right off the bat, right out of the park.
I know, yeah, because we did the EGX episode. That is crazy.
Yeah.
I actually just want to make sure of that and just check. Yeah.
God,
we've been knocking them out.
No, we're just like, hey, come along and join the fun. We've got big episodes right when we start.
What was it?
It was definitely one of the first ones. I know that because it had to be because EGX was in. Was it August or November? I can't remember.
I'm sure it was. Let's have a look. Just trying to. Yeah, episode 2, EGX.
That's crazy! Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Wow, I should have. I should have trusted myself on that one.
Yeah, we were some ambitious folks. We still are.
I'm losing the ambition with this lockdown going on, to be honest.
Oh gosh, we're gonna make it through, which is a good segue.
Yeah, that is actually good, to be fair. Go on.
Yeah. So we move on to our next segment, and I promise you it really will be 2 minutes this time, but it's our You Got This segment, which is temporarily rebranded as We Got This, because we're all in this together.
We should rebrand it after this to You've Got 2 minutes.
I know, and then I would never, ever... It would never be 2 minutes.
Imagine if I put a timer on you just to see how close to 2 minutes it would get.
Oh, that would be frightening. But yes, so our We Got This segment. I've mostly been kind of reading from the experts and, you know, sharing with everyone, you know, how to get through all this. But I'm just going to speak from the heart. Right now, look, we're in an unprecedented time.
We can actually say that.
Yeah. There's never been a time like this ever, with all of these factors occurring at the same time. So any way that you're handling this is the right way. That's what I'm going to say, because I have literally been eating my weight in chocolate.
Which is highly unusual for you.
It is. I'm usually very regimented about, well, everything that I do. And I have none. I have no patterns, no regiments, no nothing. Routine has gone out the window. So, I just am handling it by eating lots of chocolate. And then, like, Pete and I will talk sometimes, so that's good because that gets you out of your bubble that you're in. So be sure to reach out and talk to people, even if you're not a social person, which I'm not. I still have joined in on the group chats that we have through Rapid Reviews, and it's been like so re-energizing. So be sure you're reaching out just for your own sanity. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, because I'm a perfectionist and I'm like, oh, well, you've eaten this many calories today, or you haven't done any work today, or you haven't done this or whatever. But there's no reason for all that pressure. There's just absolutely no reason.
Not at the moment, anyway.
Not at the moment. Yeah, that's what I mean. Basically, from here on out, it's just coping the best you know how. If that's binge watching television, if that's eating chocolate, if that's, you know, within safe reasons, you know, like a glass or two of wine within, again, of course, safe limits. Yeah, we won't.
Bit rich from you.
Yeah. Hey, do as I say, not as I do.
That's a fair point, actually.
But yeah, it's difficult, you know, so keep yourself occupied, laugh a lot, reach out, freaking rage if you have to, like, you know, rant on the internet if it makes you feel better.
Yeah, I've done enough of that.
Yes, you have. That's why I said that. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Do as I say, not as I do.
But yeah, so really what it comes down to is take your moment that you need this week, and just know that you're gonna pull through this. You're coping. You're gonna make it through. And as always, we got this, because we're all in this together for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Reach out if you feel like you need to. Where DMs are open.
Yes.
Kylie podcast itself, we will respond. Me more so than Kylie.
Yes, it's true.
In all honesty, like,
yeah,
you know, she's great, but she is terrible at responding to messages.
I'm not a social person. It's bad.
I know, but you've been forced to be social this time.
Yeah, which is actually good in a way, but yeah.
Once all this is over, you're gonna go back to being the hermit crab.
Yep. Yep, it's too funny, but probably actually will happen.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I would have liked to have thought that this whole sense of united front that you have in your house at the go, but wouldn't revert back to the way that you were before this happened. But
Oh my
I
god.
guarantee it does.
Yeah,
Guarantee.
it's like this is terrible, but it is who I am. When all of this is over, I'm probably gonna take myself off to Scotland for a few days and just do a glamping pod on the beach because it's so beautiful.
Nice.
So beautiful.
Oh, no wonder you told me to say that to my partner as well. You should have something to look forward to. You specifically said to me I should go to Scotland.
I was like, to me, Scotland is the most beautiful place on earth. Might as well pick there.
I mean, it is. I mean, there's some great places in Scotland, to be fair.
Yeah, but I know there's more exotic places for you lot. But
yeah, look, I want to go on a bloody holiday, and I'm still not looking like I can go.
I know. That's I've noticed that across the board. A lot of people are, having to forego the holidays, but we're gonna get through this. There is an ending. Focus on the ending. It will end, because, and when it does end, and I'm allowed to have my convention, we will throw the biggest convention ever, and you guys are all invited.
Woo!
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Here's an idea for that. I probably should mention this off air to do with the convention. But now that Streets of Rage 4 has got a multiplayer arena, how about a tournament?
Hey, I'm up for that.
I'm well up for that too.
Well, good, because you'd be organizing.
I know. That's why I had to ask your approval on that one, because you're the organizer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd be up for that.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, it's done. It's done now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Tentatively, our date is still scheduled for August 15th and 16th. That will more than likely change, sadly. But even if it does change, it's still going on. We'll just move it down a few weeks or months or however long it takes. It's still going to happen.
It's going to happen, even if obviously this year's one may not happen. It'll just be for next year, but we'll sort something out regardless.
Exactly. And then the plan and intention is to make it a yearly thing. So, just everyone out there, hop on a plane, come visit Belfast.
It doesn't have to just be a plane. If you happen to live in Liverpool or Manchester or something like that, you could jump on a boat.
Hop on the boat, man. It's like, I don't even think it's 2 hours. Is it a 2-hour journey? I can't remember. It's not. It's not very.
I've never done it. I wouldn't know.
Oh, it's not long at all. Well, being that I'm from Texas and to get anywhere would take me 4 hours to drive. And the whole island of Ireland takes 4 hours to drive from top to bottom. So for me, it doesn't take very long.
Yeah, of course. Considering, like you just said, it takes you to get anywhere in Texas usually.
Yeah, exactly. So, but so we'll move on. Just to put a kind of pin in it. Just remember to reach out, get out of your head once in a while, and you're doing the best you can do.
Yes, agreed.
Yes.
So this is going to be a light topic.
Yeah.
And I think you've probably seen this one coming from a mile away once I say it. We're talking remakes and remasters, obviously, because of Final Fantasy VII Remake. But not only just that, but Resident Evil 3 that also came out around about the same time as well.
Right.
So my question to you is a simple one. Remakes and remasters, are they necessary?
Well, this has actually come up a few times in various chats and stuff. I absolutely 100% think that Final Fantasy VII needed to come out as remade. It was too. I wanted to see. I mean, I wanted to see it remade. I did because.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'd agree with you. I'd like to see it remade.
Right. And remakes do tend to appeal to a wider audience.
Hmm.
So it gets more fans on board, which is always good. But
Yeah.
by the same token, something we brought up a couple of episodes ago, Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider was remade.
Oh yeah, that was the one where we spoke with Daryl.
Yes. Right. And I made it quite clear that I'm not a fan of the remake series.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm so divided because I think they've changed the character. I think they've added a narrative that I don't think was needed, and blah blah blah.
Yep.
But then Resident Evil 2 remake, I think they kind of knocked that one out of the park. I think they did really well on that.
Yeah.
And then with Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think they've done really well. The difference between all of those games, I would say, now purely my opinion, is the Final Fantasy and Resident Evil remakes followed the original storylines.
Yeah.
It kind of beefed up what was already there, but for the most part followed the same everything. Whereas Tomb Raider took a character and rewrote an entire series around her and changed the character up. And I can't say that I'm on board with that. I don't like
it. Yeah. I get that. The only thing that I would say about that is that Crystal Dynamics Tomb Raider is not exactly a remake of the original game, is it? It is actually a reboot of the series.
It's and that's reboot, yeah.
That's where the key difference is. We're talking specifically about a game that has had a following that is either being remade or remastered for a new generation rather than a rebooted story, because rebooted stories are fine that if they're done well to their to the original done respectfully to the original source material, they can be done very well. We've had so many reboots over the years for many different things across different forms of media.
Yeah.
Yeah,
movies for sure.
Yeah, but that's where I think this topic is actually starting to go in that respect, and I'm glad you mentioned it. Is that I feel that Hollywood is completely devoid of new ideas. Now going back and remaking old films, and obviously we've seen this trend a lot with Disney over the last few years, remaking their classic movies.
Right.
So
very strange.
I think the gaming industry is starting to go that way too. Is that certain developers are not willing to take a risk on a new IP anymore. They just want to bring back something that got them good press. Because a lot of people have had some very bad press over the years regarding certain games, and it's kind of hindered their reputations, and now the only way that they can get back to that is to remake a classic.
That's actually a good point. I didn't even think of that as being an aspect of it, like the PR aspect of it, but you're right.
Yeah. I mean, I use this as the key example, really. Resident Evil. Capcom have not had a good time of things over the few years before Resident Evil Remake or Resident Evil 2 Remake came out, and to a certain extent when Monster Hunter World came out as well. Everyone talks about the 4 Capcom games that brought their fortunes back.
Yeah.
But seem to forget that Street Fighter 5 was still there, causing unnecessary issue for Capcom.
Yes.
Where people were still criticizing its pay structure, its pay to win models, and its aggressive monetization, all that sort of thing. But everyone has now turned a blind eye to it because Resident Evil Remake was so good, Monster Hunter World was so good,
right?
And now it's starting to go back with the fact that people are criticizing Resident Evil 3 Remake. Have you seen some of the criticisms of that?
I have, and it actually surprised me, to be fair, because I thought they were still riding on the high that was the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah.
But no, a lot of people that's not happy about it.
Yeah. And I mean, we didn't include this into the news because once again, it's another rumor.
Right.
But the rumor has now pretty much been substantiated, though, in the fact that Resident Evil 4 is now being remade for 2022.
And
which this is why I didn't include it in the news because it's part of the topic.
Right.
Now, I'm a bit worried by this because
yes.
I have two reasons.
Okay, I want to know.
One, because they completely skipped over Code Veronica.
Oh, right. Ooh,
and I think Code Veronica is ripe for a remake. That game is brilliant, but also disgustingly bad at the same time.
Yes, I would agree with that. Absolutely.
Like the premise of the game with Claire Redfield and the story is great. It's really well done. But it's got tank controls and it's a spin-off game and it should have been Resident Evil 3 and there's a lot of backstory with that game, but I think it's a bit of a tragedy that they've missed out an utter classic that is Code Veronica or Code Veronica X, if you know it as that.
Right.
Because you know, Code Veronica X is actually the deluxe version, let's call it.
Yeah.
But the second reason, and this is the biggest reason for me, Resident Evil 4 is damn near perfect and does not need to be touched.
That seems to be the sentiment across the board. And I have to admit that I too was surprised when they basically announced or confirmed that it was going to be remade. Yeah. Most of us are left scratching our heads going, why?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the thing that I got across from all of this is that all the Resident Evil are really happy about this, barring a few who are then told that they're foolish for not wanting a remake to a near perfect game.
It's a very
why. I mean, games, movies, TV shows, music, the whole lot. If something is already perfect or near to perfect as you can get, what way can you go? You can only go down. You can never. There is no such thing as perfect. Nothing in this world is perfect.
Exactly.
So it's and that is about as close as you can get. It has got the greatest elements of Resident Evil in there. It's got great horror, ridiculous dialogue, B-movie tropes.
Yep.
And they completely changed the perspective, changed the camera controls, everything. They overhauled that entire game to change it up from what Resident Evil really was, but still managed to maintain that core Resident Evil aspect.
Exactly. It's actually what I think revived the franchise, which I think a lot of people think. So,
well, to be fair, like I'd lost interest in Resident Evil after this, after 3 had come out, because I didn't like the game when it came out. I hated it. I thought it was terrible.
It to go back and play it now, which I have done.
Well, I'm only talking about back then. I hated it back then.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like going back and playing it, I have forgotten how much I hated it.
Yeah.
And then to add on to it now, the fact that you know, again, I'm talking about the original, not the remastered, but the controls were terrible, the graphics were terrible. For me, just my opinion. I didn't enjoy the gameplay or the story. I literally cannot sit here and tell you the story because I just
I know it runs concurrently with Resident Evil stories where some of it happens around about the same time that Leon and Claire are doing their thing in the police station.
Yeah.
Some of it happens before and some of it happens afterwards. The narrative is all over the place, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And I think that's as a result of the development of the fact that this wasn't originally supposed to be mainline Resident Evil. This was supposed to be a spin-off game.
Right. And that's how it plays. It plays as a spin-off.
Yeah, and yet Code Veronica, it was the original Resident Evil 3 that doesn't play like a spin-off game, but everyone hates it.
Exactly.
You know? But the thing for me is that I've heard this, not criticism, I've heard this piece of feedback, let's say, on how they can improve Resident Evil 4 Remake. And I don't agree with it. So people were saying is that one of the very archaic things that's in Resident Evil 4 is the fact that you can't move and shoot.
Right. But, right.
But they're talking, so people are obviously going, oh yeah, if they shoot, this would make the remake so much better. Why?
Yeah.
Explain that aspect. Why does it make a better game because you can move and shoot? I actually think it fits perfectly with the narrative and the heightened tension that you can't move and shoot. It puts you into corners and it puts you into very precarious situations where sometimes you can't get out of them because you kind of dug yourself a hole.
Right.
You know, I mean, they have certain areas that are very, very narrow where you can go around the back of the houses and they're just dead ends. And you get yourself stuck down there with a horde of enemies coming towards you. You're screwed.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what a survival aspect would be like, wouldn't it?
It is. Well, and see, for a while there, probably around the Gears of War 3 era, duck and cover was huge in games.
Yeah, it was.
So I wouldn't mind seeing them incorporate kind of duck and cover into this, but
that would be cool. That would
shoot,
be cool.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah, because Gears of War was a cover shooter, as they called it.
Shooter. That's what I mean. But I could see it getting enhanced by that.
Yeah.
But as a full-on FPS, because let's call it, that's what people are saying, it should be is an FPS. I just don't think so. I think you take the fear aspect out of it, or the anticipation. That's the word. Anticipation aspect of it and stuff. And yeah, it definitely takes out the tactical, because you have to think tactically when you're playing.
Exactly. I've tried to go back and play Resident Evil 4 like a few times, and it's difficult to go back and play with when you've been playing games with newer mechanics.
Yes.
Where you are able to move and shoot, where you are able to do all these kinds of things. But yeah, you go back to that and you're like, why can't I move and shoot? Oh yes, because that's a design aspect of the game.
Yeah, and
it's like they chose for this to happen. The game was running on a GameCube. It's not like they couldn't do it. They just chose not to because it's that heightened tension. It keeps you on edge. You look at later on in the game, and obviously spoiler alerts for a game that is now 15 years old.
Yes.
Where you go into the research facility and you pick up the infrared scope. And you've got to go and take out the parasites that are in those really weird twitching enemies.
Yes.
And yet, if you were able to move and shoot, that bit would be a cakewalk.
Well,
but that part is so difficult because you can't move.
And
you have to stay stationary.
That's a very important aspect in that if they were to change that element, and I assume that they will be changing that element, you're going to change the entire game.
Yeah, they would have to change the entire game to change that. That game would be cakewalk if you could walk through it. Like, move and shoot, move and shoot, move and shoot. Not a chance. I think it would lose some of what made Resident Evil 4 so great.
Yeah, I will definitely agree with that. I think that definitely, after speaking about it here, I definitely think the Fallout, oh my gosh. There's a Freudian slip.
What did you say?
I said Fallout. I was about to say Fallout 4, but Resident Evil 4.
Brilliant.
Doesn't need to be remade.
Yeah.
So I would put that in the doesn't need to be remade category.
Of course. However, Fallout 4 does need to be remade.
Oh my gosh. If we could throw Fallout 4 into just the bin and just set it on fire.
Yeah, I would gladly do it. In fact, I'd give you the petrol to be able to do it.
Yes. And then the kindling would be 76. Oh, that was another thing I
talk about. Ouch.
Yes. So, speaking of remakes and remasters and re-releases and all of that, Fallout 76, the
weirdly had a resurgence.
Yes, it's they've recently put NPCs in the game. So,
yeah, and weirdly enough, I've seen loads of people on Twitter turning around, and there's this targeted thing going on at the moment. Said Fallout 76 isn't a bad game.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it might not be a bad game now.
That's
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I've not played it. I've not wanted to play it
no,
because I will not give Bethesda that money
not
at all.
no.
I was already worried in 2018 or
Mm-hmm.
whenever it was,
I think it was
2018.
18. This is 20.
Yeah,
So yeah.
2008. Yeah, 2018 EGX, where I was up in
Mm-hmm.
Birmingham,
Mm-hmm.
where they had a massive promotion for Fallout
They
76.
did, yeah.
Huge, like the hugest promotion I've seen, to the point where they've got like a whole section of the NEC in Birmingham
Yeah.
decked out like Fallout, like a Fallout shelter,
Yes. I
right?
remember
Which is
seeing the
cool as
pictures. Yeah.
so cool.
The photos were great.
But yet the game was not even playable there.
No. Which is
That worried me.
that's
That's
usually pretty
hugely
telling.
worrying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I put that up on Twitter the other day, saying about that, how I always knew that this was going to be a bit of a worry
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't even have the game playable there, and then I got a massive load of abuse from someone saying, like you should play Fallout,
No.
because I didn't get my chance to play it at that event.
Mm-hmm.
I would have played it then and been critical about and been open-minded about it. But now the game has come out and I've seen so many things about it. I can't be open-minded about it anymore.
Well,
I'm not going to be.
I'm gonna sit here as look. I am a Bethesda fangirl. I am absolutely a Fallout devotee, and there's no way, not even if they issued a remake, will I ever play 76. There's nothing. It messes with the lore. It messes with time. It messes with time as in the Fallout timeline.
Yep.
It introduces things like dancing and stuff and a social aspect that just does not belong in a Fallout game.
Yeah, that was the key thing for me, is the whole point about, and we've mentioned this in previous episodes before, is the whole point of Fallout is the lone wanderer.
Exactly.
And yet if you're in a party with people in an online game, you're not a lone wanderer.
No. Yeah, and so I don't know the future of Fallout, but I think I definitely would not play a re-release of 76 or Fallout 4. I would play, however, if they didn't mess it up too much, if they didn't mess with the core concept but just cleaned up the graphics a bit, I would like to see New Vegas remastered.
Oh, yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen now, considering Obsidian are owned by Microsoft.
Yeah.
However, I do have an idea, and this would be a great one, right?
Right.
So I've mentioned Obsidian. Obviously you mentioned earlier on in the episode they used to be known as Black Isle Entertainment.
Yes.
Now they were the original Fallout designers and game makers. How about if Microsoft gave them a blank check to go to Bethesda and say, we will buy the Fallout license off you again?
Oh my gosh.
And made it Xbox exclusive.
That would be the biggest coup in gaming history. I would literally say that, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because when they sold it, if you go and you read the backstory, they didn't want to sell to Bethesda. They had to sell to Bethesda.
Yeah, wasn't it also the original designers?
Oh, you cut out there. I lost what you said.
Okay, I think not only was it Black Isle, I think it was also Interplay who also worked as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Interplay was the parent company.
Yeah.
Black Isle was really just the creators.
They were the devs.
Yeah, exactly. And what they sold Bethesda was the license, obviously, but they also sold Bethesda the MMORPG.
Yeah, they did. I knew they were working on that.
Yeah, and so that was 15 years ago.
Yeah, and it's taken them 15 years to get a subpar game out.
Yeah, and it's terrible. It's just not. Gosh, yeah. And so if that's actually a good point. All of these remakes and remasters and everything, they've mostly been wrested from the original creative teams. Although, as you mentioned off air earlier, like the Final Fantasy VII Remake,
Yeah.
the original composer was brought on as an advisor.
Not even just that. I have heard some very interesting stories about the remake, about FF7 Remake. Is that obviously Tetsuya Nomura, who's the director on this game, was the original character designer and battle director.
Yes.
So now he's been bumped up to director's role, but didn't actually know he was the director until the original director of the original game was shoved down into an executive producer's role, and he came and started asking him questions.
Oh
It was
gosh.
like, oh, how does this look in this game? And then apparently when he saw his name on the credits as director, he went, oh, well, that makes sense why Kitase was actually asking me questions.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I did not know that aspect. That is too funny. That's crazy.
That is really funny.
Oh,
But then
funny.
But then it was the fact that was it Kitase actually approached Nobuo Uematsu about doing the soundtrack, where he said, "Yeah, I'm more than happy to come back." He said, Kitase said that he never expected Nobuo to even pick up the phone to him.
Wow. Oh,
wow. But yeah, Nobuo, whose freelance career with the Black Mages has been massive since he left Final Fantasy's music direction. But he managed to compose a whole new song for this game, which is the theme music they used in the trailer before the game came out.
Yeah.
And even to the point where Nobuo was like, I'm done with the series. I don't want to be involved in that respect. However, I'll come on as a producer and I will choose the person who I want to do it. Which, like you said, actually worked on the original Final Fantasy VII music himself.
Yes.
So the person they got on there, personally chosen by Nobuo, it was also part of the original crew.
Love it.
So this is all handled with utter care by like people who were passionate about the game. And one of the most important quotes from it was from Nomura himself. Sorry, I had a bright mind fart there.
It's all right. Yes.
Yeah. So Nomura came out and said over the years that actually the reason why the remake has taken so long to come out was because they didn't want to pass this off to a new development team without any of the original producers being involved in any way. This is why it's out now and not out in 10 years' time.
I love that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So like in that respect, I think this remaster or remake is a very good example of how to game. But we've obviously got more parts coming, which worries me. But then one of the reasons why I brought this topic up was actually because a news topic that we decided not to cover because I think it was a pile of cack to mention it. Saints Row the Third Remastered.
Yeah.
This news was the most stupid thing I had ever heard in my life. A game that came out on the PS3 or the PS4.
PS4, I think.
I'm sure it was out on the PS3 or the 4. I'm sure it was out on one. I know it was out on one of them.
Yeah.
But it was. I think Saints Row the Third came out very late in PS3's cycle.
Yes.
That could have potentially had it on the PS4, but yet they've now got a remastered version.
Yeah.
Why?
That's like I can't believe I'm gonna say something negative about my true love.
Oh, I know. That's worried. This is why I mentioned it, because I know how much you love the game.
Well, I love the game Saints Row series. They did not need to remaster it whatsoever.
No, they don't.
In my opinion, especially 3. But another game that I think actually did it well is the Master Chief Collection. Yeah. So,
wow, that has equal parts of greatness and terrible included with it.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to bring it out as an example.
Yeah.
So in the Master Chief Collection, Halo CE, which is the original Halo, has been remastered and re-released several times.
Yes, it has.
But I'm going to just use the Master Chief Collection as the kind of
Okay.
final, the example one.
Yeah, because am I right in thinking, just as a quick aside,
sure,
that actually the version of the original Halo they use is CE, which was made by 343.
Well, they 343. Oh gosh, okay. So the original, if you did not know, the original creators of Halo were Bungie, who were at the time owned by Microsoft.
Yeah.
Microsoft, being the idiots they were for a little while there, let Bungie go. Still don't know why they did that. Still
very foolish.
Yeah. And picked up another small dev studio that was still part of Microsoft called 343. 343 had done, I think they'd done a Call of Duty game or something. Maybe Battlefield.
Mm.
They did one of the shoot 'em ups.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that great. And then they tasked 343 to do the Halo RTS games, which I do not enjoy.
Yeah, they made Halo Wars, didn't they?
Halo Wars, yeah. But they, had cutscenes in there that apparently Microsoft was a fan of. I did not care for, but okay. So they tasked 343 with remastering this and re-releasing and blah, blah, blah. So, why I think it works. Halo CE, which is the first Halo, and Halo 2, which desperately needed a remaster, have had all new assets added to them. It's been polished up. The cutscenes in Halo 2 are stunning. I can't even...
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But an aspect that they allow is you can press the select button and go back to your original, the original look.
Which I think is a really good idea.
I think that I wish that would be standard. And because, yeah, I love that because you'll be playing, and I've played Halo, the original Halo, more times than you can even begin to imagine. And yet I'm sitting there playing this remastered version going, it doesn't look that different. And then I'll hit like the select button and go, oh, wow.
Okay, it is that.
It's way different.
Yeah.
Now, having said all of that, when the Master Chief Collection was released, Halo 3 was, I think Halo 3 was 10 years old.
When was I'm looking at it now, 2014. So it would have been around about the time that Halo 2 was 10 years old.
Okay, I knew one of them was having their 10-year anniversary or whatever. Halo 3, I didn't feel like it needed a remaster. It's my favorite of the series. And it still, I mean, at the time, it still looked, in 2014, it still looked good to me. It still played right. It still, I just didn't see the point in it.
Yeah.
So, yes, on the older games, the 1 and 2. And then I think they added ODST to the collection. I seriously cannot sit here and tell you what is different about ODST since it's been remastered.
I wouldn't know because I haven't played Master Chief Collection since I've got the Xbox, but we are obviously planning on doing it soon.
Absolutely.
So I'll get to see the difference with ODST because I played that game twice. I love that game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you terrible person. You. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, be quiet.
No,
look,
it's a good game. Like, it is a good game.
For me, what it is, I really like the setting of New Mombasa. I think the area was actually really well designed. But I think most of the time that, ODST gets an unfair dunking on by most Halo fans because it's not Master Chief.
It's not Master Chief, and to be fair, it's not very Halo-like.
No, I would agree. I think that's probably why I liked it.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I don't think they could have made it Halo-like and released it as ODST. I think people would just be like, oh, well, this is just a, powered-down Master Chief. This isn't anything,
Yeah.
I think they had to take it in a different direction.
And it's pretty telling as well that actually the game is actually called Halo 3 ODST. So
Yes, it is.
it's actually an expansion to Halo 3 more so than anything. It's not
A
it's not
standalone
Halo
game.
3. It's just
No.
yeah.
And it's
So
weird.
I don't see an issue with it.
Well, I think it's weird because uh, it is part of the Halo 3 whatever. But yet the assets that they use look so, like the Covenant looks so much, I'm going to say, better.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did seem to include some much higher res
Very, yeah.
models for certain characters, which I thought
Mm-hmm.
was quite interesting.
Well, that's kind of my point is like, why did they remaster ODST? Like, I can't fathom that one. That one's just a little bit strange to me.
The only thing I can think of is to take it all into line with the unified art style that they probably wanted to have across the entire Master Chief collection.
Yeah, I mean, that could be
Maybe so
it.
that everything was more, because people don't seem to realize that when you are putting a game out on Xbox One X with the 4K designs, they are polishing up things that weren't originally intended to go up to 4K design. So they do need to work on those assets in some way. So I think it's probably just a unified decision by 343 to take it all into a unified art style across the whole game. Because imagine how weird it would look to go back to play Halo CE, to then go to Halo 2 original, to then Halo 3 original, and then play ODST after that. That's got slightly beefed up like Covenant designs and stuff like that. It would be very jarring. And then you go on to Halo 4, which is a visual spectacle, to be fair.
Gosh, it's so beautiful.
So I think it would be strange. That's the only reason I can think behind it.
I think you're right. I actually think you're right about that, because when you go from the original Halo and you play it with the select button off, so you're playing the original polygons and everything, and then you jump over to Halo 3, it is weird. It's very
and that's exactly the thing. I mean, you just look at the fact that Halo 1 and Halo 2 came out on the same console on the but yeah, they're so significantly different. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very excited for Halo Infinite.
Yeah, you've made it very aware. Pretty much nearly every week that Halo Infinite is one of your excited games of the year.
It is. I mean, I will say, speaking of re-releases and remasters, Doom Eternal is amazing. What they've done is they've taken a game series and, without losing its originality, if it could be argued that it had originality at the time, they've beefed it up. Everything they've done, I feel like they've improved it, as opposed to just I don't know. I'm very pleased with Doom Eternal, but it is currently my game of the year, and I'm just waiting for Halo Infinite to come out and beat it.
So, obviously, unsurprisingly enough, Final Fantasy 7 Remake is probably my game of the year at the moment.
Not a surprise at all.
But
I
think when Streets of Rage 4 comes out, I think that's going to overtake it immediately. I don't, to be honest, I don't even need to play any of Streets of Rage 4 to know that. I love the art style alone in that game. But I'm going to bring this full circle.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you an interesting fact.
Sure.
Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition on the Xbox 360 obviously was made by 343 at the time.
Yeah.
But did you know that they were collaborating with another company?
Was it Bungie? Because no, I didn't know that.
No, it wasn't. Like I said, we're going full circle because we've mentioned them already. Saber Interactive.
Oh my goodness.
They have been a porting studio for years.
Oh wow. We should do
good old Saber.
We should reach out to them, see if we can get someone. I would like to.
We'll try.
To them. Yeah, we'll try that.
I'd like to as well, but they might be a bit busy with Crysis and melting switches.
True. But that does remind me, dear listeners out there, if you have any recommendations of people you would like for us to interview, or if you yourself are a dev or music producer or voiceover artist or whatever, and looking to be interviewed, we are happy to do that.
Even if you review games, we're happy to win.
Yes. That too.
I mean, look, we've had Jennifer on who works for Rapid Reviews, and yet we interview her. Really.
It's true. Yep. And I will have to make a confession as we head towards the wrap-up session.
Yeah.
I forgot to put out our weekly plea for listener questions.
It is now officially becoming a plea for questions, isn't it?
It is. We have no more in the bank. We had a few saved up. We've now used them. Our reserves are low. So please send in your questions.
Feed me questions.
Yes.
I'm going hungry here without them.
And again, as we say every time, but it's true, it can literally be about anything. We are really into just fun, abstract thought games and everything. So it doesn't have to strictly be games related. It can be any abstract thing, food related. That's another favorite subject.
Yep.
or
do
just
love me
anything.
a bit.
Yeah.
I do like answering the food questions. They're always fun.
They always make me hungry.
Yeah, because usually at this point, neither of us have eaten.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I did have some eggs before we started, but it's now getting on.
Well, I'm glad about that because you've eaten a.
Oh, you cut out. Oh, what did you say?
I said I'm glad you've had something more than I have because I've had literally nothing.
Oh no, yeah. That's usually where we find ourselves. Is yeah, we both usually start around lunchtime and then get done around the evening, and we haven't eaten anything. So
yeah. After our absolute rabbiting on and going, oh yeah, it's at the time. We should probably get on now, shouldn't we?
But as we wrap up, we do enjoy you stopping by and having a listen during these crazy times. And that's always appreciated. Likes, comments, feedback. We're always happy to hear that.
Always.
And if you want to have a look at our latest reviews, head on over to www.rapidreviewsuk.com, where we've put some really good ones up this week. It's surprising.
There has been a fair few good ones.
And we've got some new writers on board, so that'll be fun to see how things come out. So, yeah.
You'll know it's their first one because Mike will happily say for their first review for Rapid Reviews. Yeah.
Yes, always give them a read and a little support.
Yeah.
Because it's tough to put your stuff out there, out in the world.
Yeah.
And I always want to encourage anyone to do that sort of thing.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. And if you're on Twitter, you can find us at Rapid Reviews UK, and also our podcast specific one, which is where the listener questions is supposed to be asked for, which is at RR Radio Pod.
But that's only if Kylie remembers to actually put it out.
Yes, exactly.
Because I mean, for the longest time, even I was doing it, and literally Kylie's just sitting there going, "I've got nothing to do." Well, maybe you should do something.
Yep, we're supposed to.
This is all agreed upon.
Yes.
I mean, I have gone back to the original document that even states that, and yeah, you've shirked your responsibilities. I'm afraid. Look, if we get to episode 30 and you haven't put another call out, I might have to fire you.
Oh no. That's too funny. Oh my gosh, that just tells you like every day is just bleeding into the next day. I think that's for everybody. I don't think that's just a me thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I literally got up on Friday morning and went, "Oh my god, is it Friday already?"
Yeah.
I just went, "Oh, it doesn't really make a difference. I'm at home again."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, earlier this week, I think it was around Tuesday or whatever, it just felt like a Sunday. And I kept thinking, I have a podcast to record today. And it's like, no, I just did that. The other day. And I just had to remind myself all day that it was Tuesday, not Sunday. It's just weird.
Look, if you ever get to that point, just remember the immortal words of Raul Julia as Empire. For me, it was Tuesday.
For me, it was a Tuesday.
The best line in that entire film.
It just makes me have like goosebumps even now.
Me too. Apart from the obvious, of course.
Yeah. Oh man.
That whole spiel about him talking about bison dollars as well is also hilarious.
Gosh, yes, that's true too.
Well, I think he's talking to Sagat, isn't he? And he gives him the briefcase full of money that's bison dollars. He's like, "What the hell is this?" He was like, when I take over the world and I take over all the banking industries, this will be worth more than your currency."
Oh, it's so bad and so good.
Yeah.
But so another address that you should keep in mind, which is twitch.tv/rrradiopod, because we will be twitching.
Always.
Yeah.
We're hoping so. Like you said, we've got a couple of series in the pipeline where you teach me how to play an FPS and I teach you how to play fighting games. So that will probably be like one stream a week. Who knows what day it's gonna be, but we'll do it. We'll work out logistics and get it up.
Yeah, because we got to
get the information up.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, we need to figure out obviously how to do streaming and all that sort of thing. It's gonna be awkward, but we'll sort it out.
Yeah, always. And then you can find us on Facebook. I don't know why you would, but hey, Rapid Reviews UK on Facebook. And one more. We also have email. You can send your questions there. You can give us feedback. You can request interviews. All of that wonderful stuff which is podcast@rapidreviews.com. Dadgummit, I said it wrong.
Yeah, you did.
Podcast@rapidreviewsuk.com.
Hey, there we go. Got it right. Got it right this time.
Where can they find you, Pete?
I don't know why they would, but if you really desperately want to, you can follow me on Twitter @PeteBeckett1, where I tweet some ridiculous stuff. Mostly talking about games and stuff that annoys me, if I'm honest. Or I'm responding to people being idiots.
It's a full-time job.
Like earlier on, someone put up a post about Red Dead Redemption series, but forgot to even include Red Dead Revolver in there. And they've even come back to me and said, "I only mentioned a Red Dead Redemption series. That's why I didn't mention that." I was like, "Yeah, but it's part of the same bloody series."
Yeah, and to be fair, as a person who is a fan, I'm very much a fan of Red Dead. Pete had to read the tweet twice to find out where the mistake was, and I was just like,
I was just literally just sitting there. It was like,
on me.
Yeah. I was just sitting there going, "Right, I'm going to read this to you. Do you see the mistake?" And you went, "No, read it again. Where's the mistake? Where's the mistake?" And you went, and when I said it to you, you went, "Oh, of course."
Yep.
Brilliant.
So yeah, Twitter's always fun to.
Yeah, but where can they find you? Where would they want to find you?
Well, if for whatever reason you want to find me, I am at Kiley to Greet, which is KILAYTEHGREET. No lie.
It still makes me giggle. Honestly, every time I hear it, I'm
Futurama reference.
Thinking that Futurama reference every time.
Now I'm leaving Earth for no reason. That's my favorite. I just love that.
I wish I had no reason to leave their life.
But yeah, I'm mostly, not gonna lie, my tweets right now are mostly about autism, because it's a crazy time for us autistics. Not a lie.
Yep, I bet it is.
It's a crazy time for everyone, if I'm honest. Yep, and I think that's really gonna do us, except for our one last thing, which is, Pete, hit us with that game fact.
Okay, this is one that I have actually mentioned to you off air before, but I thought it was so good I had to mention it on.
Yes.
And also, it does tie into one piece of news that we had as well.
Sure.
Did you know that the 2005 game developed by Monolith Productions and published by Sega, Condemned: Criminal Origins, originally started out life as a 3D Streets of Rage game?
Cannot believe that. I absolutely cannot believe that. That's crazy.
Yes.
Well, we thank you guys for stopping by and giving us a listen. And stay safe out there. Wash your hands.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it. I won't.
Yeah. And we'll definitely see you next week.
Same time, same place.
Exactly.
Cool.
All right. Bye.
Bye.